Chapter 11. Ares' test of compassion. As Ares continued his journey of redemption, he found himself faced with a new challenge, one that would test his compassion and empathy in ways he never imagined. It was in the remote village of Eleusis that Ares encountered a group of refugees fleeing from the ravages of war and famine. Displaced and desperate, they sought shelter and solace in the temple of Demeter, goddess of the harvest, praying for mercy and salvation in their time of need. Moved by their plight, Ares vowed to aid the refugees in any way he could, offering them his protection and assistance as they sought to rebuild their lives in the face of adversity. And so, he worked tirelessly alongside them, toiling in the fields and tending to their needs with a kindness and compassion that belied his fearsome reputation. But even as Ares labored to ease the suffering of the refugees, he could not shake the feeling of unease that gnawed at his soul. For he knew that the world was a cruel and unforgiving place, and that the forces of darkness and chaos were never far behind. And so, when a band of marauders descended upon the village, intent on plundering its riches and enslaving its people, Ares knew that he could not stand idly by and watch as the innocent suffered at the hands of the wicked. With a mighty roar, Ares rallied the villagers to his side, leading them into battle against the marauders with all the ferocity and determination of a true warrior. And though the odds were stacked against them, Ares fought with all his strength and skill, his sword flashing in the sunlight as he struck down his foes with righteous fury. But even as the battle raged on, Ares found himself confronted with a choice that would test the very limits of his compassion and empathy. For among the ranks of the marauders, he saw faces that were not so different from his own, faces of men and women driven to desperation by the harsh realities of life, in a world torn apart by war and strife, and in that moment, Ares knew that he could not simply condemn them as villains and monsters, for they were victims of circumstance, just as he had once been. And so, with a heavy heart and a newfound sense of understanding, he offered the marauders a chance at redemption, urging them to lay down their weapons and embrace a new path, a path of peace and forgiveness. And though many scoffed at his offer, there were some among them who saw the wisdom in his words, and who chose to follow Ares' example, laying down their swords and seeking forgiveness for the sins of their past. In the end, the battle was won not through brute force or violence, but through compassion and empathy, the very qualities that Ares had once believed to be his greatest weaknesses. And as he looked out upon the village of Eleusis, now safe and secure once more, Ares knew that he had passed the test of compassion, emerging stronger and wiser than ever before. The end. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey. If you enjoyed Ares' story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more mythological adventures. Until next time, may friendship guide your path and courage light your way.